I'd like to talk about how to identify a musical mode. This is good information to know for any style of music. It applies to the 12 note system that is widely used. So the basic elements that you need to identify a mode is to know what's the starting note, which is the bass note, and what are the intervals. Really, with this information, you can find out any mode. So if we look at the bass notes, this is really important. I'm here with a guitar, and if I play a chord here, I'll give credit to Alex Lifeson on this one because that's one of his. So if you play this one, and like me, you're on the guitar, your lowest note is C, and you're very much in a C major universe. And you only have in this chord 4 notes. Repeated an octave higher, but essentially you have 4 notes. So not quite a scale, but you can just say you're in a universe that sounds very much major. Now, if you play that same chord and play a bass note that goes like this, so clearly you're not in major anymore because your bass is A. So that becomes a minor universe. So this is quite an interesting trick as a composer that you can use. Your piece starts a certain way and the bass note completely changes the perspective of where you thought you were. It's one way to travel from one universe to the next in one note. What's happening with this same chord, starting with A, is that now you have the classic minor pentatonic. And this could be enough. You could say, well, I'm going to improvise or write a melody just with those notes, and that's my scale, that's my mode. But it also limits you with only 5 notes. So if you want to expand to heptatonic, you can decide to add a second or a 6. So it could be the Aeolian mode in this case, which would work, or it could be Dorian with a natural 6. But what's important to mention here is that the clarity of your mode here will depend on if there's a chord before or following that chord. So is it part of a progression? And usually, naturally, you will find that you want to select a mode that has a relationship with the preceding or the one that follows. So at the end of the day, the composer will have the last word on what they want to use. So this example was more to stress about the importance of the bass note to establish that musical universe, because I think one of the points I want to make is that a mode in itself is a member of a family, but each mode has its own personality, color, identity, whatever you want to call it, but it's definitely unique. As a composer, it just opens the door to multiple possibilities, knowing how many modes there are. Let me give you another quick example. I want to give credit to my friend Enrico Pina, who's a fantastic guitar player. Check him out. He's amazing. He's a virtuoso. I was checking one of his videos and I was impressed with one of the chords that I thought really resonated with me, and it's this chord here. So in a chord like this, you have a lot more information than the previous examples. There's basically 6 notes that you can work with. So what's clear, the bass note is very clear. It is an E. So you have 6 notes clearly identified here. Starting from the first, sharp 2, major 3rd, sharp 4, sharp 5, major 7. The only thing missing is the 6th. And in this example, I think the natural choice is the natural 6. So natural 6. So with this information, so you've identified a mode to a chord. But I'll be honest with you, I wasn't 100% sure what that mode was. So this is where my list comes in very handy. And this is a list I put together. I've never seen it displayed like this before. So the way it works is that it's a grid with 12 available notes. And in this example, I've identified what modes as the sharp 2 as my second notes and quickly identified, okay, there it is, sharp 2, 3rd, sharp 4, sharp 5, 6, major 7. And to my surprise, I found out, well, this is related to the harmonic major family, which is funny because I did a video on this family, just to show you that it's not always 100% clear if you're dealing with a mode that you don't necessarily play with on a daily basis. So it was quite funny when I realized that. So what it is, the specific mode is the 6th from the harmonic major family. This one is called Lydian augmented sharp 2. So it is related to the A flat or G sharp harmonic major, but starting from the 6th. So this is just a quick example of how I applied it into my own music. And it's, again, it works for any type of music. I'll give you another example quickly. Again, when I worked on this chord progression, it's not the modes that dictated what I wanted to play. It's more my ears and I was noodling with the instrument and tried to find something that kind of made sense intuitively. But once you found something, I think it's important to identify what is it. Is there a relationship with the first chord? So in my progression, I decided to start with this one and then go with this one to follow. So then it takes time. You have to write down the notes. But then once you've identified the notes, and in this instance it starts from C sharp. Sure enough, it is in the listing. It's basically a Dorian sharp 4, which is related to the harmonic minor this time. Starting from A flat again, but starting from the 4th. So whatever your style of music, the principle is exactly the same. Identify the bass, find out what the intervals are, and then you just can focus on what mode it is. It's simply a useful tool. So I hope you find that interesting and especially useful, and best of luck with your music. All the best.